Hello everyone, Hamas28 here, and welcome back to Clayblock. So, as we left off last episode, we're going to be headed straight to the end. And there's no point in delaying, let's jump right in. We made it. The end. It's also full of compressed clay. Nice. And this is all 3x, which is really nice. It's a good thing I brought this excavator. Now, as you can see, not much is happening in here, which is odd. I thought the Ender Dragon fight is supposed to start. Didn't really have a plan for it, kind of just, gung-ho my own way in. But I kind of thought stuff was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? Oh, there it goes. Let me get a little bit of distance here. And let's see. Free crying obsidian, free obsidian. I actually think I can mine this using the obsidian hammer, which should be pretty sweet for me. Let me go ahead and steal some of this. That way you can steal 25 blocks of obsidian at a time. And if you're wondering why I'm so nonchalant right now, it's mostly because there you go. That's why I was so nonchalant. The Ender Dragon is optional in Clayblock. Explore the end and its resources, and get its resources at your own pace. Now I am wondering what that is, and for some reason there are no Endermen, just, what are these? Liams. There's also a Pillager, by the looks of it over here, that I haven't seen before. Clay Archer, but he doesn't have a bow. What do you drop? Basalted ingots. Nice. That's what we were looking for. We needed basalted ingots to make a block of basalted so we could finally make the forge hammer, which will unlock the rest of modern industrialization. Now let's see, now that we're in the end, ooh, this is quad compressed clay. I definitely want this. This stuff is really good, because the quad stuff cooks into raw iron, the 5x then cooks into, I believe it's gold, yep, and then the 6x is needed for diamonds, which means every 16 4x is a diamond, and I do want to get a lot of diamonds to upgrade my tools, because the obsidian tools are very nice, but their durability is a lot lower than what they're supposed to be. And if you take a look at, say, a diamond excavator, or a diamond hammer in this case, the diamond hammer actually has 8,000 durability, so it lasts 4 times as long. It just does it in a smaller radius. And let's see, there's some more pillagers. Let's see if they drop our items that we need. Because in addition to the curium, in addition to the basalted, we need curium. And if they have no weapons, well, they can't really do anything now, can they? Is that a Vindicator? Okay, he has hands, even though he's literally just strangling me. Because he doesn't have a weapon. Interesting. And he drops nothing. But you drop something, don't you, buddy? Okay, they actually don't drop anything. Interesting. I wonder what the liams drop. I could probably check if I just search it up, right? Liam. Liam. Liam drops dimensional shards with a very, very low chance. Gotcha, so that's why I didn't get anything. That's a little disappointing. But while we're here, we need to find some curium ingots so we can start modern industrialization. So let's see if we can't locate ourselves a teleportation thingamabob and get out of here. And here we are. Now let me actually get rid of this stuff so it's not in the way. Perfect. And you know what I should have brought? I should have brought a, whatchamacallit, trap door. That's what I should have brought. But we have 2 ender pearls, which is all that I need, so let's head to the end island. Clayium. Interesting. Not the best spawn. There's not much over here by the looks of it. I'm going to put that pearl away so I don't lose it. And it looks like, okay, it looks like the evokers and pillagers all spawn over here. But that means I should be able to make some kind of mob farm. So we can farm a lot of these. And it looks like there is one over there. But I'll just mark this one. Create waypoint and beacon home. Because it definitely looks like there's no other way to get ender pearls while we're here, which means if I lose this ender pearl, I can't leave. Now there are these really big structures that are pretty far, but as long as I have terracotta, we should be able to build our way to where we need to go. And there we go, we made it. Crystamigrified clay. Now how do I turn off effortless building? Oh, disable. Nice. Now what is this for? Crystamigrified clay is used for making unfamiliar items and crystals and other unfamiliar items. We can also turn it into unfamiliar items. Nice. But on the inside is 5x compressed clay, which means every 4 of these is a diamond. So if I tear down an entire one of these crystalline structures, I could get quite a lot of stuff. Now I do want to see if we can find ourselves an end city and see if there's an elytra somewhere, because that would be nice, along with some loot. So let's keep looking. Man, I must be... Well, I haven't really explored too many... There was one on that side? Okay, well, at least it shouldn't be too difficult to go back. I can see it. It's so close, yet so far. And we just gotta build a massive bridge over this chasm. Just like everything else in the end. Alright, this should be close enough. If I just build upwards, I should be able to just hookshot my way up into the house. And the shulker shouldn't be able to hurt me at all, right? Because if I use a hookshot just to suspend myself in air, then I can't be levitated to take fall damage. So I don't think there's any actual danger here, unless some of the evokers spawn inside the building, in which case, that's going to be pretty bad. Now there are a couple outside, but I don't think they'll spawn on the inside. Alright, I should be close enough. And let me build a little platform here, just so I can safely hookshot back. And we should be good to go. And here's the loot. Nice. And I could just hook myself to the wall so I can't move. 8x compressed clay, an emerald excavator, basalted, diamond hammer, and curse of binding, not taking that. That does suck. I can't actually pick up this stuff. Yeah, I can't pick up the items because we didn't unlock industrial whatchamacallit yet. So I just need to keep finding the items until we can craft it. So we have enough basalted, I believe. So now we just need the curium. Oh, there it is. Let's see if we can get inside. We just need 2 more curium ingots, and then we can finally leave the end. I'll probably come back though, just because it's so easy to mine clay here. But for now, that's just what I need. Hey, shulkers, don't mind me. God, they're so annoying. Thank you. Let me go up a bit. And what do we got? It should be over here, right? Yep, it's on that side. And come on, give me the curium. And chest number 1. Okay, now check. Curium. Nice. Compressed clay, emerald hammer, some more diamond pickaxes, excavators, less good pants, really good helmet, and very good chest plate. Along with more basalted. Let's see, I'm going to swap this off. Swap the helmet. Nice. And I don't think I need more basalted, right? Like, you don't use this for anything else? Yeah, that's it. So we have enough curium and basalted to craft our items, which means we can finally leave. I am going to check the rest of these houses, though, to see if we can get some really solid loot. And behind the first one, really good boots, and some more curium. Some more armor, diamond hammer, that I don't need. And that actually looks like that's it. There's no other chests here. Pretty disappointing, but at least we got everything we came for. Now I just gotta leave, because these guys are extremely annoying. And there we go. Now let's see. I came from, where's my marker? That direction. And I did pass by a couple of the beacon thingamabobs nearby, so I just gotta find one so we can finally get back home. And to save you guys the trip, I'll just make a cut, so when we come back, we'll be back in the overworld. And we're back! Hopefully I can sleep through this. Oh, okay, it's a thunderstorm, nice. So we can just skip the rain. Always appreciated. And now finally, we can loot our spoils. It's really nice that they include a lot of that compressed clay in there, because we can use that to make a lot of stuff. Luckily though, thanks to finding all these tools, I don't have to use it to make tools, which is really nice. Tons of diamond tools, diamond hammers, curse of vanishing. Interesting. But now that we have these, we can turn this into a block of curium, a block of basalted, and now we can craft a forge hammer. And how do I actually craft this forge hammer? With 5 iron ingots. And with that, modern industrialization is unlocked. You have reached the goal. Is this a forge mod? You discover a brand new way to create tools and machines. And in case it wasn't obvious, what that does is add oh, can't search it like that. It adds a whole bunch of stuff, which I thought it's supposed to show up here. That's weird. Alright, I fixed it. Reloading the save, I guess reinitialized what you can see, and now it works. So now you can see we have 25 pages in JEI, and we have access to industrialization. So remember prior episodes where I kept saying, oh, I wonder, is there a way to get items like this? Can we do that before? Turns out you can. So dirt is actually craftable now via water, and actually not water, via the electric quarry to get all sorts of stuff, which is honestly really good game design. It's because usually what happens if you play with mods you're not used to, you kind of get overwhelmed by seeing tons of pages of JEI, and by locking it behind, you know, the end, which made it tedious but very interesting, it meant you actually played through the early game like you're supposed to instead of just looking through JEI and going, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And now we have the MI guidebook to guide us through modern industrialization. Now, something specific to this pack, I believe, is that we actually skip the steam age and go right to the electric age. But I have no idea how this works regardless, because I've never played with modern industrialization before, and for all I know, well, not for all I know, that's the wrong wording. As far as I know, this is like a GregTech adjacent mod, which means it's all brand new to me. I've never played with anything related to it, so it's going to be as much as a learning curve for you guys as it is for me. Oh, and in case you were wondering, if you want to craft the MI guidebook yourself, it's actually really easy. You just need a book and 9 copper nuggets, and at this point you should have access to copper, so that's really easy. But if you're wondering where to get leather, leather is actually just made by blowing up brown terracotta, so it actually wasn't that difficult at all. So honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing, so leave your tips in the comments. But it looks like the first thing we need to do is make ourselves an iron hammer, which will take 2 sticks and 5 iron plates. But then you ask, well, how do you make an iron large plate? You make it from 4 iron plates. Well, where do you get an iron plate? And that's where this mod gets real fun. 2 iron ingots can be used to make an iron plate. So if we need 4 iron plates to make the large plate, and each one takes 2 ingots, then that means to craft 5 of them, 5 times 4 times 2 is 40. And that's not enough iron. Do I have any more? Don't think I do. So we're going to need more iron. Luckily at this point we have access to the end, so making iron from clay is pretty easy. So we take our 40 iron and turn that into iron plates. Take those iron plates and do nothing? How do I... Oh, you just craft them in your inventory. Silly me. To make into the big one. Now we take these big iron plates, and we can craft ourselves 1 iron hammer. Then we can use this iron hammer to do a variety of tasks, of which I gotta figure out. I don't even know like where to start with this mod, honestly. So I think I just have to like follow the guidebook, and hopefully this can explain enough so we can actually figure it out. Alright, so I see what's going on. So using the blast furnace, we cook up compressed clay into the iron ore block, and then using the forge hammer, you can turn this into double the iron ore. But if we use a hammer, we can turn it into iron dust for 4 times as much. So the first machine we're going to be working on is the coke oven. Pretty standard stuff, so to craft the heart of it, just takes a furnace surrounded by bricks to make the coke oven block. But then to build this, we also need, and you can actually hit U and it tells you, 24 bricks. So we're actually short 1 brick. There we go. Like so. Okay, I'm not sure if we need a wrench. It doesn't seem like you need it. Then to build this, it's pretty standard. If you've built a coke oven before, you know what it looks like. 3x3. Like every single mod has it look like that. Just like so. And shape valid, status active. There it is, 1 coke oven. Now of course there is a problem. We can't actually put anything inside or take things out. So we also have to craft the item input, item output, and fluid output. So if I take a look at item output, and remember when I said we don't need basalted for anything? Turns out I was wrong. We actually need basalted to make the item output hatch. There are different versions. I'm just not sure how we would actually get to those, as you can see here. Like this one's advanced. This looks scary. Whereas this one looks a lot easier. So to craft the basalted machine casing, we just need 8 basalted plates and a basalted gear. And if we go to our forge hammer and take our basalted ingots with this, you can see we can make basalted plates, and we need 8 of these. And then we need a gear. And to make a gear is 4 plates, a bolt, and a ring. So we need 4 more plates, a bolt, and ring. So now we should be able to take this and make our basalted casing, machine casing. Oh, make the gear first. Now we can use the gear to make the machine casing. And now if we make ourselves a hopper, probably need to make a chest first. Probably need to make planks first. And of course we're missing all of that. Luckily we have a ton of clay. If I remember correctly, I just need a bunch of 2x. Now I should be able to make planks. There we go. Now we can make a chest and a hopper. And now we can craft ourselves a basalted item output hatch. Basalted item input hatch. Grab this guy. And, interesting, it highlights. Wonder what that means. Does it mean I have to put it in these slots or not those slots? Let me try. So I break this. Put you there. Does that work? Shape invalid. Never mind. Okay, break this one. So now if I put it here, it works, cool. And then it changes the color too. Very nice. But of course, that's the input. Now we need an item output and a fluid output for the creosote oil.
But at this point we wonder, where do I get more basalted ingots? Are we just supposed to keep exploring end cities for the chance of getting more ingots? Is that truly the intended method? Yeah, the answer is no. I've just been super unlucky.
And finally, after traveling over 5,000 blocks, I finally found the biome. I've literally been traveling for days. All the way from the center of the end, all the way over here, just so I could finally find a void barrens. Because I was searching around in creative mode on my creative world, where I take my screenshots, and I found this biome. And you know what's special about this biome? It's full of smooth basalt. It's full of dead coral blocks. This is what you were supposed to do to access modern industrialization. So now that I finally found it, I can tear down the entire biome and bring that all back with me to the overworld. And we're finally here. Advancement made. I didn't look at you! I'm not as weak as I was before. I have upgraded armor. Anyways, so now we finally made it. Smooth basalt. There should also be dead coral block here too. I think it's this lighter one. Actually, it's not the lighter one because that's just more. So it might be over here. Okay, so I'm not seeing any dead coral yet, but I assume it's out here, and this biome is massive, so I should never need to get any more basalt and blackstone ever again, which is very nice. And also, there's large deposits of otherworldly crystal that when you break, turn into a variety of dust, as you can see here. All kinds of stuff. So if you're wondering where you get it, this is where it is. So that is why I brought my shulker box, so I could put away all these items that we're going to be collecting, and I can get on my merry way. Because this is so far away, I don't want to have to come back anytime soon. Luckily, I did find an elytra, though, in one of the ships that were way over here. So at least coming back should be a lot easier when I have to. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We got 5 stacks, well 4.5 stacks crying obsidian, a bunch of pearlescent froglites, a bunch of smooth basalt and blackstone. We harvested a ton of compressed clay, and we filled this shulker box with a bunch of different ore dusts. So now we're ready to go back. And looking at the minimap, so this is what the coral looks like, the dead coral. But I was taking a look at GEI, and it looks like curium doesn't actually have too many uses outside of these drills. And the curium drill is just used to get more blackstone curium, ore, and pearlescent froglites. So I can always come back for that later, because we just need to actually set up the infrastructure needed to actually make the drills in the first place. But it does look like there is a beacon right over there, so I should be able to leave pretty easily. So this is what we're working with. We want to make an electric quarry, which will take a steam quarry, which will take steel, which is made in an electric blast furnace, but is made from uncooked steel dust, which takes coke dust, which takes the coke oven with coal dust. So as you can see, that's quite a lot of steps. And it's all going to start with this guy right here. But now that we can make our basalted ingots, we should be able to fix this much faster. Now here's my diamond chest that I have filled up with all of our resources, so now I can easily access them using our portable crafting table on a stick. And now that we have our basalted item output and fluid output, we can come over here and break these sides of the machine. Item output, fluid output, and now it works. So now to make this guy run, I think we just have to throw coal inside, right? To make coke. We don't have any coal though, at least not in great quantities from what I remember. Coal. Yeah, there's no coal, so we're gonna have to craft some using all of our compressed clay. So as you can see here, it does say we should be able to just put coal into the coke oven and it should work. It says it takes power, but we didn't do any inputs on it, so I think it's for the pyrolyzed oven. I'm not actually sure, but I guess we'll find out. Now I can already tell, I did not get nearly enough materials for basalted ingots as I thought. Regardless, to power our coke oven, we're going to need a bronze boiler to produce the steam. It's actually not that difficult, as fire clay bricks are just made from brick dust and clay, which we already have in abundance, and bronze is pretty easy to get, as we did get a bunch of tin already from exploring. And to make bronze ingots, you just have to combine copper dust and tin dust, and copper can be produced from terracotta. So you take your tin dust, take your copper dust to produce bronze dust, smelt that bronze dust in a blast furnace to produce your bronze ingots, and then take your bronze ingots and pound them flat into bronze plates. And now we should be able to craft ourselves one singular boiler. So if I type bronze, we can make ourselves a bronze tank. And then if I type boiler, what am I missing? Oh, the fire clay bricks. Whoops. There we go. Boiler. Done. Now, so we should be able to just put this directly into the fluid input hatch, like so. We'll set this guy to auto pull. Put you here. And now, oh, we need to put water in here. Left click to insert orange extract. So how do we get water? Okay, so actually making a pump seems pretty daunting, as you can see here. Quite a lot of parts. So for now, we'll just manually fill this. Left click to insert 1 bucket of water. We'll give it some coal to power it. The temperature starts to rise, and it should start converting into steam. Not sure how long it takes though. Fluid output, left click to extract water. So now it looks like we're up to temp. The water is turning into steam. And the steam should be going into the coke oven. As you can see there, steam is filling up. And now, if we crush some more coal ore into dust, like so, we should be able to dump it into this slot up here. It goes inside. Now the steam is being used, and it's working. So now, the coke should go into this item output hatch over here. And it finished it. Come out to the hatch, and 1 coke dust. Voila. And now we just need 2 of these, combine it with iron dust to make our uncooked steel dust, and then we have to cook this into the steam blast furnace. So luckily we don't actually need too much steam by the looks of it. One bucket of water seems to produce a massive amount of steam. You know, this probably actually tells you, if I check, boiler, fluid fuels. No, I want to see uses of boiler. Doesn't show it, which is odd. Regardless, it looks like 1 bucket of water produces 10 buckets of steam, which should run for a very long time. So I'm going to have this make a bunch of coke dust so we can make our steel, and while we wait on that production, we need to take this and throw it into a steam blast furnace, which I don't think actually exists in this pack. Steam blast furnace, steam blast. Yeah, it doesn't exist. So you actually have to make the electric version, which is made from a blast furnace, a basic machine hull, and a bunch of magnetic copper nickel wire. Hello everyone, Narration James here. Fun fact, gray concrete powder has very low blast resistance, and I learned that the hard way. I really need to update the design on the explosion resource collector. Anyways, I needed the gunpowder to craft some fireworks so I could head back to the barren wastes and collect a massive amount of resources to bring back to the base so we could really get started on modern industrialization. After a long flight, we make it and I start harvesting the world. Pro tip, bring a lot of shulker boxes with you so you can take less trips each time. It's also a good idea to craft a builder and use it to quarry the very tall crystal structures because they break very slowly even with tools, and we're going to need a lot of them. Now if you're like me, you probably don't have any experience playing GregTech adjacent mods such as Modern Industrialization, and because of that there are going to be many things that seem super counterintuitive and very complicated, for complication's sake, to which I say, that is the point. A core theme I've seen from GregTech mods is that at first, crafting basic things is extremely tedious and a lot of work, but the fun comes from unlocking higher tiers, building out supply lines, and turning what was once tedious into something completely automated at speeds you can only dream of. So before you get started, make sure you spend a lot of time in the end gathering resources so you don't have to keep going back and forth. Luckily, we really only have to focus on 2 biomes and a few key resources. All the dead coral will be turned into curium, the basalt and blackstone into basalt ingots, and smashing the purple crystals will get you a ton of ore dust that will come into play later. I finished this mining spree by getting a stack or 2 of crystamigrified clay, a few stacks of glowstone, and some clayium from the floating islands. Now, at this point, since we have so many different resources to manage, this is a good time to set up a drawer controller and drawer wall. We also have access to Tom Simple Storage available to us, so we can start building out a simple logistical network to get us started. You do have to unlock the Nether at this point to get access to Tom Simple Storage, but since we're already at the end, that's not really an issue. Now, there is no digital storage in this pack, so the goal will be setting up passive crafting of everything, but first focusing on the components that will be used the most. So first things first, I'm building out a large smelting area so we could turn our clays into ores and gems, and then use those gems to make diamond chests for our simple storage, and build out a wall of drawers for our main resources that we keep in bulk. Now, if you haven't noticed, we can't use clay planks to make drawers, which means that we have to turn clay into 5x terracotta and blast it into mangrove logs to actually get usable wood. In the early game, this would have been super expensive, but now with 5x5 mining, getting tons of terracotta only takes a few minutes, and as easy as that, the drawer controller is done, and now we can start populating it with drawers. To make things easy, I'm just going to use a bunch of 4x4 drawers to start and then upgrade them with these obsidian level storage upgrades so they can store far more than we need, and throw in a single drawer to hold in most of our clay. And as I built this out, I realized you don't actually need the drawer controller linked to the system, as the Tom Simple Storage will read any adjacent drawers that are attached automatically. Now, this system will come in very handy as we make more machines, because we can easily storage all of the singular components into one centralized space. Now finally, we have a full base instead of just a bunch of walls, and now we can focus on our steel production. Now to make a steel ingot, first we must make the universe. The electric blast furnace, which I'm going to start calling the EBF, is required to turn our uncooked steel dust into steel. To make the EBF, we need 3 components: a blast furnace, a basic machine hull, and 7 magnetic copper-nickel wires. Blast furnaces are pretty easy. All the items needed to make it are made by blowing up terracotta. The wire and machine hulls, on the other hand, are going to take a bit more work. As with all its problems, it's best to break it down into each smaller component. Starting with the machine hull, we're going to need basalt machine casing, analog circuit, redstone batteries, and tin cables. We've already made basalt machine casings, so that only leaves the 3 components, the simplest of which is the tin cable. All we need is a block of tin and 8 curium cables, which are crafted from basalt planks, plates, and curium ingots. Batteries are next, and these take a combination of the crystal clay, antimony, and lead ingots to make battery alloy dust, and then ingots and plates. Then using an anvil, we smash the plates into curved plates and can make batteries. Finally, this is where it gets very tedious. Analog circuits are used extensively in this pack, so what you should be doing for this portion isn't crafting just one to make the whole. You should make as many as you possibly can, because you're going to need them. Almost every machine will take a basic machine hull. You're going to need to craft a lot of them. Starting with the copper wire, you just need to blow up copper cables. Later on, we can make a machine that does this for us, but for now, this is what you have to do. As you could see, basalt ingots and curium ingots are the base for pretty much everything, so the more you can stockpile now, the better you'll have crafting later. Analog circuit boards are pretty simple, but very expensive. Capacitors are next, and by this point, if you haven't figured out how to make blaze powder renewable, the trick is that you can craft 4 ochre frog lights using 8 glow berries and 1 blaze powder. You can then blow up those frog lights to get a profit of blaze powder. You can get tons of bone meal by either automating a farm, or in the curium biomes, there's a lot of bones. Inductors are next, and this takes another anvil craft with a metric ton of clay. You'll need to craft a block of primed clayum by smashing 27 clayum blocks into a 9x compressed clay block. That yields 9 primed clayum ingots, and lastly, the resistor should be easy since you already made the copper cables, and hopefully you've been farming sugarcane for the paper. Now all that's left is the magnetic copper-nickel wires. These are quite tricky since they require a polarizer to craft, but as you can see, most of the components needed are things you already crafted, so hopefully you have some leftovers. Tin wires are made the same way as copper wires. Take a block of tin, surround it with curium cables, and blow up the result. Put it all together, and the polarizer is complete, and it's not a multi-block, so that's all you have to do. Except for the eeny weeny teeny tiny little problem known as power. But hey, remember those clay generators we crafted before? Turns out you can take 3 of them and turn them into 2 EU generating clay energizers, which can power MI machines. And would you look at that? It only needs yet another basic machine hull, and this time primed clayum gears. So if you haven't already, spend some time in the end gathering a ton of clay so you can actually progress through this stage. Then, once you have your clay energizers, you can throw in clay or clay blocks and start generating power. If you want higher amounts of power, we're going to need a compressor to compress the compressed clay even further to compress clay fuel. That's a tongue twister. But now that we have a polarized polarizer, a powered polarizer, we can throw in our copper-nickel wires, and we can't craft copper-nickel unless we have a mixer. Because wouldn't you know it, we need a machine to mix copper-nickel dust, because my hands are far too delicate for such an intense operation. So now repeat crafting a whole bunch of components, and finally put it all together and make a mixer. Finally, we can now make copper-nickel ingots. Now we can take these, turn them into cables, blow them up into wires, polarize them, and now we can finally craft the heart of the EBF, and I'm out of components for another basic hull. Great. Now to finish it off, we just need to make 18 heat-proof machine casings for the top and bottom layer, have 2 middle layers of copper-nickel coils. Then it needs an item input hatch, energy input, and item output. Luckily, with the mixer, we can now make Invar, which is needed for the heat-proof casings. But oh wait, to make anything out of Invar, you need a compressor to turn them into plates and a cutting machine to turn them into cables. And at this point, I'm pretty tired. It's late in the night, so I'm gonna log off and we'll get started in the morning. So, it's a new day. I'm collecting resources because we need more stuff to actually finish off our EBF. And I mentioned about using the builder to actually mine these things, but I never actually showed it, so here it is. So if you just come over here and throw in your shape card, I have a clay energizer feeding the builder with power, and I have this whole crystalline structure marked. So now we turn this on. You can see it's going to quickly start breaking down the entire structure extremely fast. And because it's full of this 5x compressed clay, you actually make a ton of clay profit from this when you do it. So I'm going to fill up this shulker box with even more material. As you can see, I came over here to mine a bunch of stuff, so my shulker boxes are just completely full of materials. And I have one more, so let me fill this one up as well, and then I'll be good to head back to the base. You know, I noticed something weird about the curium biome. The distribution of dead coral blocks heavily skews towards bubble coral and less towards tube coral, which is really annoying, as you can see here, because you need 2 of each of these to craft curium, which means I'll probably use my builder just to mine out an entire curium biome next, so we can get more of this. But overall, pretty good haul. Tons of crystal microphyte clay, along with everything else. Now we will need more claim in the future, but now we have a ton of dust as well. And here we are. This is what our LV setup looks like. Finally got the cutting and the compressing machine ready to go, and most of the EBF finished. We just need to add the bottom layer and the top layer of Invar, but now that we have the cutting machine and the compressor, we should be good to go. So let me show you how that's done. So you're going to take your Invar, and I made sure to make a ton of it because each block takes a gear and 8 plates, and a plate is 1 ingot, but a gear without the assembler is a lot more than 4 ingots, as you could tell. So we're going to need, the base is 5 plus 8. That's, is my math right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 8. That's going to be 13. So 13 times 8. Let me pull up my calculator here. So we need 13 times 8. So 104 plates just to craft the item. So go to our compressor here. That's the cutting machine. And start compressing this. And the overclock is at 4x, so it goes pretty fast. We need to get 100 of these. But then we need even more for the Invar gears. As each gear takes 4, we need 13. And then to make the bolts and the rings, you have to make them from rods. And to make rods, we have to put Invar ingots and lubricant in the cutting machine. Now how do we get lubricant? Lubricant is made from mixing creosote and redstone dust. So while this is compressing, we're going to go downstairs, and this is why it's important to have your coke oven ready to go. As we can go to our fluid output, we can fill these up with creosote. Now if we grab some redstone, we'll be able to make some lubricant, mix that together. Grab some redstone, come to the mixer, take this out. So now if we come in here, gear, ring, compressor, cutting machine, we need lubricant. Lubricant is creosote and redstone dust. So if we take our creosote, and throw in some redstone, we're now producing lubricant. Take out the lubricant, go into our cutting machine, add lubricant, add the Invar ingots, and we could produce Invar rods. Then we can take these rods and put them back into the cutting machine to make bolts. And then how do we actually make, oh, and then you can compress them as well to make the rings. And there you go. As you can see, I just ended up making way more than we needed because we're going to need more than we needed at some point. Now we can go ahead and make 13 Invar gears, I sure hope. Throw all this in here to craft 13 of these. Then combine it with our plates. And we need more plates. See, this is what I mean. So go back to the compressor, throw in the rest of our Invar, and that should be enough plates, I believe. We can also do this one as well to make some more plates, grab some more rods. And something, this is a feature I like about modern industrialization. So as you can see, every time it does a craft, the efficiency and the overclock increases. So the longer you can do a craft without running out of resources, the faster subsequent crafts will go. Which is why it gets so much faster once you automate everything. Then you no longer have to wait, you're just producing at massive speeds. So now we grab the rest of our plates, and hopefully we can make the rest of our blocks. 9, we need 13, perfect, just enough gears. So now we can fill out the bottom here. And fill out the top. See, yeah, there it is. I left a way to get on the roof. I'm gonna have to put some torches up here. Completely forgot about that. Now, the reason I'm roofing it off is mostly because I know in GregTech, rain can actually damage your machine. 8? Oh, it's 9, not 8. Silly me. There we go. The final casing. Throw you on here. Right click the blast furnace. Shape valid. What's this do? Cooper nickel. Not actually sure what that does. Show recipes. But now we can finally turn. There we go. We can finally turn our uncooked steel dust into steel ingots. And it unlocks a bunch of other recipes as well. So let's grab our uncooked steel dust and craft our very first piece of steel. Did I not make this? Uncooked. I thought I made this before. Oh, I guess not. Well, that's easy enough. Just take your iron, grab your iron ore, throw this in here, turn that into dust, add the dust here, and make one whole stack of steel. And now throw this into the item input hatch. And it gets to work. You can see the efficiency is going. It does eat 8 EU per tick to start crafting, and that's going to keep rising as the efficiency grows. And currently we don't produce that much power, but the Energizer... And currently we don't produce that much power, but what's really neat about the overclock system is that your machines will just use up as much energy as is available to them. So even if I run everything at once, they won't overclock, but they won't slow each other down. Now, if they use more energy than I'm actually producing, they will slow down, but that shouldn't be an issue. But now we come to our item output hatch, and we can grab our steel ingots. Finally. For you watching the video, this video is going to be like 45 minutes long, not that long, but for me, this was about 3 days worth of work, mostly gathering materials, as you could tell. Crafting everything I think took like a few hours, but now we have our steel. And now with steel, we can finally work our way up to the steam quarry, because it needs steel machine casing, steel large plate, steel gears. Guess it needs item pipes. And then to actually craft the full multi-block takes even more steel casing. The mod does recommend that you have multiple EBFs running in like parallel to actually produce all the steel needed to craft everything. But now we have it up and running, and that's phenomenal. But as always, like I said, this episode has gone on quite long enough. I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you guys next time.